Okay, we're good to go. Fantastic. Bit of a sound check for everyone putting on their headsets right now. And, well, a big hello from me. I'm Jane Aldridge, and I am joining you from the attention stage. And I guess the first thing for me to say, by way of introduction, and while also trying to keep cool today, is I feel like a beginner. I feel like a beginner today. I am a beginner today. I am a beginner at MadFest, never been before. This looks amazing. I'm a beginner to speaking at MagFest, and I'm actually doing that twice today and joining Sally later on in a chat, a fireside chat, I think it's called. And I'm also beginning the day. So it feels good. It feels like a learning, and that's a good thing, because that's actually what I want to talk mostly about today in the space of innovation, and particularly in the FMCG world, or fast-moving consumer goods. I'm really aware that there are a lot of amazing speakers here today, many of whom call themselves experts in marketing, lots of fantastic CMOs particularly. That's not how I'm talking to you today. I'm talking to you as a BEO, or a kind of managing director, CEO type of position. So I'm in business, I lead, we grow, and we deliver. And just by way of a quick intro, if we haven't met before, which applies to kind of most of you, I've been in the FMCG world for the best part of 30 years. I have worked for Nestle, the biggest food and drink company in the world. I've worked in lots of different categories, sales and marketing, and I've lived and worked abroad as well, Central Eastern Europe, UK. So why are we here? We're going to talk a lot about innovation. We're going to talk, or I'm going to talk about my insights around that, my experience, and our learnings. And very much in the context, which doesn't apply to everyone I know, of FMCG. So, to start off, what I wanted to do was to share a thought very close to my heart, which I really believe, which is that small is beautiful. And it's a thought I've always had and has often guided my own thoughts in how I approach work and life. If you think about it, curated, crafted, personalized, tailored, Michelin-starred, nanotechnology, all of these elements make small beautiful, often make small at a higher price. It's very precious. But small only stays very often in the hands of a few, which is why the second thought I want to offer is very simple, and it is that big can be better. What do I mean by that? There are very many brands out there and businesses that have been successful and are successful today because they find a way to stay relevant to the very, very fast-moving world around them. And the, excuse me, I put the fan down and I get really hot, so I'll just pick that back up again. Brands that stay relevant and find a way, generation after generation, time after time, and hugely consistent to what they're trying to stand for and where they're trying to get to, grab my attention. And there are, sorry, I've totally lost my train of thought. I'll grab some water. Please excuse me, folks. The question that we have to ask ourselves when we look at those brands, or the question I ask myself is, what has been the role of innovation in the journey that those brands take? And it's an important question, but it's not an easy one for anyone. Because when brands are trying to deal with the competitive world around them, hindsight, the thing where you look over your shoulder, is never your ally. It's never your friend. It's never there in the moment when you have to make a decision as to what you do next. And if you turn your eye to coffee, and the industry that I work in, I chair the Coffee Association, actually, and I was sharing a few thoughts with them the other night, which I'll share with you now. In a way, coffee is the canvas for this. If you go back to when I started, and I'm not going to give you a kind of history lesson, but the coffee industry at the end of the last century was completely different. Coffee, in a way, because we're a tea-drinking nation, was a little bit of a poor relation to tea. And it was about, the poshest coffee that you got was the kind of French press that some of you might not even know that term, but the cafetiere where you used to grind your coffee and press it. The word cappuccino was something, if you were brave enough, you might order when you went on holiday. The word latte, if you even spoke Italian, was literally the word for milk. I could go on. Iced coffee was something exclusively you drank in Greece. Cold coffee was something that literally you threw away. So the world was completely different. And you roll the clock forward, and now you find a completely different world. A few months ago, a couple of years ago, if you went into a coffee shop and you ordered a flat white, you wouldn't be too sure what you got. Now, it's so popular nationwide that some roasters all around the country put on their coffee boards flat white because we have to. So the world has changed very fast, and we need to kind of ask ourselves a question: why? Why has that world changed so fast? And there's a brand I'm close to, and there are many others of the team here, Nescafe, which is a brand that has been able to navigate that world, fast-changing world of coffee-loving, coffee attention that we're very familiar with. Now, all of you experts in the room will know that every brand needs a goal or a North Star or a mission that it's trying to achieve. And you need a strategy to know how you get there. And there are many strategies you need to have. But a choice, which is for me a strategy, that this brand has made is one whereby innovation is at its heart. So if I give you one other message today, innovation is not a trend, it's not a knee-jerk reaction, it's not a whim, it's a choice, it's a strategic choice, and it really matters to many brands and their destinies. And having to pick up the fan again. The example I want to give you to explain that in a way is a really simple one, because I also have a massive love of shoes. And the story or the analogy I want to use is this. If you know nothing about coffee, but you like going for a walk, every week, imagine you take with your mate up the road a walk with their dog. And you've done it for a very, very long time. And you've always worn the shoes that you see on the left. They may not be your type of shoe, but they are definitely the most comfortable thing, the most familiar thing to you, never give you a blister, and you've used them every week for the last 2 years of your life. As you're leaving the house or the flat, you look out the window and you see a huge storm cloud coming your way and directly going to be in your path as you head out with your mate for this walk. And as you're looking at it, you go, I vaguely remember that yesterday the news report said that there was going to be some kind of rain today or flood warning, and I didn't do too much with that. And so the thought that I want to give you is, what do? Do you go with what you know? You stick with your comfortable shoes, your sliders, whatever they are? Or do you look down at the brand new sparkling yellow wellies that you've just acquired, that you've never bothered to try on because you've always stuck to what you know, and you know you're going to give you pain every step of the way? So, what do? And you can head out the front door with your sandals on and get your feet very wet, or you can choose the wellies. And that is a choice that many brands have taken, and I'll use the example close to me, but Nescafe is an example of a brand who, in a sense, chose the wellies. And the way we were born kind of matters to us. And I think it's quite interesting to share. Nescafe was born, briefly, in the 1930s, in 1938, when the Brazilian government reached out to Nestle to help them with their technical knowledge for how to deal with their coffee surplus, which they were experiencing at the time. And they didn't have a solution for it. So at the time, Nestle was curious. Nestle cared. And that is, in a sense, what you see as a result today. So the important point is not really that. The important point is that innovation is in this brand's DNA. It's always a choice we make. And behind me, you'll see some examples of stages of renovation and innovation that the brand has deployed. You saw a kind of little tin in the 1930s. We then got very exciting in the 1960s and brought out Nescafe Gold blend. You might be familiar with that. In the 1980s, as this word cappuccino was spreading around Europe, we brought out ready-to-make cappuccinos. And lastly, just in the space of instant coffee, by the way, I should add, we brought out Nescafé Zero, and I am proud to say in this century. If you go further afield, Nescafé Dolce Gusto was a response, if you like, to serving consumers multi-beverage coffee machines, or multi-beverage machine response to the coffee shop craze that I've described earlier. So plenty of innovation. And I mean, there are many things that make innovation successful, but the two thoughts I wanted to share with everyone who's interested today, and what I think makes innovation in general in brands and businesses very, very successful, is the first is an unrelenting commitment to curiosity. And it sounds very simple to say, but I really genuinely mean it. It is the unstoppable ability to ask the question why, how, what, where, in relation to insight, data, technology, and you never let that go. The other, and its best mate, the other key ingredient in innovation is what I call collaboration, co-creation. For some of you, it's the same thing. For us, it's about developing high-performing, high-functioning teams, often that are local, often that are global. And the point about curiosity and collaboration are that they go hand in hand. Because the more that you ask your team and your colleagues how and why and what, the more you bring the team together. So for me, those are the essential ingredients. And completely by chance, if you're curious about curiosity, consider putting into your whichever search engine you're using, curiosity is your superpower, because of curiosity at the weekend, my husband threw me a TEDx talk exactly by that name, and it's really good to listen, and I fully support what they say. I thought that might interest you. But curiosity and collaboration are not just things that drive the internal workings of the world I work in. They are also things that drive our partnerships with others, all of which are super important to the health of this business and the health of the brand. And so another excuse to put up cows, which I also have a big love for, but this is an interesting example perhaps for you, which is we have a partnership with a wonderful company called First Milk. And as you might know, we sell a lot of products that carry milk with them for the consumer. And First Milk and Nestle source milk from farmers that are developing and committed to regenerative agriculture, which is another commitment of the Nestle Group. And that relationship with First Milk has existed for 20 years. And that relationship exists because we stay curious and we learn and we develop our plans together. The other one that I wanted to share is, if I click on, is our partnership with the fantastic King's Trust. So for many years, we have been collaborating with them in a competition whereby their amazing talent across their community will enter a competition to win the opportunity to place their designs and their ideas on our pack. So it's a wonderful relationship. And as the team will say, they're always amazed by the ideas and the insights that they get from learning from that group of wonderful people. And then another example, I mean, I've got a lot of examples, but the Nescafé brands has kind of fused itself with adjacent categories, as we would call it, so the area of desserts. And so we've innovated with flavors, and here you can see an example which I can just about read, which is vanilla cookie dough, so bringing the categories together. And another fusion on the right-hand side is, of course, with one of our brands, Kit Kat, which is within our own group. So lots of fantastic examples. And I hear you say, well, that's great, but, do you know what you're going to do next? Well, yes, we do. And some of it I'll share, but I don't want to do a massive exercise on kind of overselling. But we are, like you, very familiar with all the trends. And like I say, innovation is not a trend. But we look at all of that information, all those insights in the same way as you will all do. And one that's really caught our imagination recently is this idea that lots of people want to drink iced coffee, which feels very ironic on a day like today that I'm saying this. But they want to drink a lot of iced coffee, and it's not easy to figure out how to do that. And so one of the things that we are very actively engaged on, one of the launches, it's a live launch that you might have seen around you in current times, and I thought might interest you, is the launch of Nescafé Espresso Concentrates, which is hitting the shelves right now. So from a point of view of kind of bringing the conversation to a close, if you will, Do check out that live launch. Do give us your feedback. And there are many members of the crowd that are here today who would love to know what you think about it. So to bring this short story to a close, in extraordinary heat, here are my final thoughts, my closing thoughts for you. Be a beginner. Nescafe Espresso Concentrates is our new beginner, if you will, in the world of coffee. Small is beautiful, and it will stay that way. But big can be better. And you've seen some examples of how and why. Hindsight, the ability to look over your shoulder, isn't an ally. It's not your friend when you need to make a decision. Innovation actually is a strategy. It's a positive choice. At the heart of innovation for us, or for me, is curiosity and collaboration. They are the two ingredients that sustain innovation. So my parting thought on a very hot day is be curious, stay curious, and serve your team well. If anyone has any questions, you're very welcome to put them to me. Thanks, everyone. Go for it. I can't hear you, though, so there's a mic coming to you.
Hello, Kirkland. I'm here visiting from Los Angeles, the
Great
land
to meet you,
of
Kirk.
vanity. And my question was, I think one of the biggest threats to coffee, is the fact that it stains people's teeth. And I was wondering if there's any innovation going on to plan for that, because I think what we're seeing now is a trend where people are not wanting to drink coffee because of teeth staining. So I was just wondering if there's any research or anything going on.
It's a great, excuse me, it's a really great question. So if anyone didn't hear that, are we doing anything to deal with the fact that coffee stains your teeth? I've got lots of answers to that. And all I'm going to do, and I'm not going to take it here if you don't mind, but I've heard it, and I'm going to see what we've got in the tank. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mike over here, sorry. Yeah. By the way, for those of you listening, I'm so sorry I got so hot today. It's really out of character for me, but I've never really quite experienced anything like it. There you go. I'm just killing time for you.
Thank you. This is really weird. Can you hear me?
You need to take the mic to the... Oh, yeah, fine.
So my question is, I work for a small company. We think we're very innovative. We want to partner with big incumbent companies, but we've given up a little bit because often it takes months to even get set up as a supplier. And, even if somebody's really willing to work with you, they're not allowed. And it takes ages. And, the admin is enormous. How do you solve for this in a big company like Nestle? How do you make sure you don't get excluded from kind of small, cool things?
Yeah. You know what? When I hear you say that, I actually feel a bit sad because everyone has a responsibility, and a company like Nestle should be able to, and many other companies should be able to make that connection. So I think the first practical advice I would have is let's connect, and I would say that to anyone and everyone. Another practical thing is we can't connect and we can't have a meaningful partnership or conversation with everybody. So I think the skill is to figure out how you show the piece of your iceberg that's really, really relevant to us, or indeed any other organization. And that's the best advantage best opportunity I can give you, or best thought. The reason I say that is I've always worked in a big company, but I've worked in small parts of the big company. And sometimes that can be as hard an exercise as the one that you are experiencing. And I would also say that at least you have the freedom to fire everywhere.
Thank you.
Yeah. This gentleman here has the mic.
Hi.
Hello.
As part of the Gen Z generation,
Yeah.
where being sober is so much more normalized, I've seen that a lot of people are turning to coffee in coffee shops as a means of socializing.
Yeah.
Do you see a big change in the strategy when marketing to young people now that this change has happened?
Yeah, I do. I think you're, by the way, full of admiration for that journey that Gen Z are on. And some of the team are here who fit that description too. Yeah, look, we're really aware of it, first of all. It's a choice that, Gen Z are making. And yes, we are absolutely geared for that. And I actually think that the coffee industry is, in general, right, is a fantastic source of solutions and ideas for the choices that you all want to make. And I don't know if you consider yourself in that, but I'm looking at you because you asked the question. But yeah, I think it's great. And there's more ideas to come. And in fact, what you see on the board there, I just gave you a quick snapshot around iced espresso. If you haven't tried it, go play. It's a really great product. That's the only selling I'm doing, honestly. But it's fun. Have fun with it. Any other questions that I can take? Okay, I think that's it for today. Really lovely to see some of the team here today too. So thank you very much. Thanks for welcoming me as a beginner. That was quite a test of, I think, nature and biology, actually. Thank you for your time.